Alright. I am a little bit sick, that's why I'm making this video. I don't think the sickness is gonna get any better anytime soon, unfortunately. But, maybe in 3 days, 4 days, maybe by Sunday. I'm not really sure. All I know is that I can still talk, even though my body hurts and I have a fever. So, here I am making this video for you all in the glory of my illness. But yeah, we're going to do something nice today. We're gonna look into mathematical operations or operators, operands. Sometimes we call them operands. I don't really know why. We're also gonna look into some variables, mainly lines and such. Nothing crazy, like interactable lines. After that, on Friday, I actually have pre-made videos from, I think the last time I was sick, believe it or not. I think it was like maybe a year or two ago, which the content should still be similar, or at least, yeah, the same, or at least similar. So I'm not too worried about it. I want you also to look into the PowerPoints, or rather the PDF slash slideshow lecture thingies. 101 week 2 for Monday, 101 week 2 for Wednesday. What I'm about to do right now, so after you go through that stuff, what I'll be doing now is I'll be going and essentially giving you Monday and Wednesday content in this particular video. And this is due to the fact that we had a holiday this year, 2025, in the fall. So it kind of screwed things up a little bit, but also gave us time to recover or time to get sick by not recovering and perhaps hanging out for fun a bit too long and not sleeping. So hopefully you're not in my position where you got sick from having too much fun and celebrating the happiness of marriage and the prosperity that happiness brings. I'm not really sure what your situation was this Labor Day weekend, but I hope it was beautiful. Maybe as beautiful as mine, but without the sickness, you know? Expressions of math. Expressions. This is actually slide 5 in that first slideshow, or at least it should be. 101.2.1. Let's give our canvas some space. Let's give it an extra 100 pixels. Why not? It's not really going to do much for us, but I like to switch it up once in a while. I want to just give you a little reminder. So remember that by placing the circles, which is what we're going to make, in draw, we will be making circles. It's gonna layer, will layer on top of each other. And right now that doesn't have too much significance at all. In fact, you probably have no idea what I'm talking about. I promise it will make sense in a bit. Just creating some preemptive comments here. I want to create a frame rate because we are going to make something that kind of moves around. Frame rate 24. This is actually mainly just to remind you that you can change the frame rate of whatever you're creating. I'm also going to start out with no stroke. This is just going to help me in certain scenarios as I go into draw. So draw, function draw, this is actually correlating to slides 3-5. We can keep the background at 220. It's kind of a nice soft gray. And then let's start drawing those circles for the mouse, because I want it to follow the mouse. We'll give it a fill. Remember, you can use hex codes, or you can just say yellow or some other beautiful color. I'm also going to actually give this a stroke of cream or beige. It won't even be visible, but maybe a little bit. Stroke weight, capital W. Make it real tiny, 1 pixel. Remember, you don't always have to use semicolons, but it is preferred if you want to be formal and neat. 30 is the size we will use for the circle. This is the size radiating from the center of the circle. One might call that diameter. Circle. Let's start out by doing a mouse X since I want it to follow. Mouse Y. 30 for the size. We're going to repeat this, but we're also going to give it a little bit of difference here. So circle, mouse X, mouse Y. Remember, that's what follows, allows people to follow or things to follow the mouse. People or things. Circle, mouse X, mouse Y, and 30. Now I am going to have to make some differentiation here. I'm going to add 40 to this one, to the X axes here, and 40 to the Y here, just so that they're not on top of each other. And this isn't really bringing much relevance to us, is it? Might actually bring more confusion than anything else, so I'm going to get rid of that. If we want to sort of, reiterate some things, perhaps we want to give some stroke weight to some other circles that may occur in the center, or perhaps we want to make those circles. We can even do it with the ellipse. Ellipse should work just fine, and we went over this stuff last time, so I don't think I have to do too many notes here. Let's make some ellipse in the center of this canvas just for the heck of it. We'll get to the this is more or less review with regard to just making stuff using some variables like mouse X. In this case, we're going to use width and height. So let's get going. We'll do a little stroke weight to do something different here. I'll do sky blue. Got to put that in parentheses or apostrophes. Remember, you can do apostrophes. And a stroke weight, I will make that 3, so a little bit thicker than prior. Ellipse. No fill in this one, we'll keep it simple. And then right underneath that, let's make an ellipse. And we're going to start utilizing those lovely variables width and height. Width divided by 2. What does that do? It centers along the width. And height divided by 2. 100 and 200. What the heck's that about? Well, that is the size with the actual width and height of the shape. But the height divided by 2 centers the height. We could repeat that. Could make a sort of perpendicular version if you'd like a weird gyroscope. Let's just copy and paste this. Control C. Control V. This time we're just gonna put a 2 here and a 1 here. Just gonna swap those values so that they're elongated in different directions. I'll reset the stroke. No stroke. Press play and just see what we have. Nice, got some lovely little almost atomic type looking things going on. Some electrons attached to our cursor. Really quickly, let's do some function type stuff. Function key pressed, because we should review that stuff. Obviously, you'll want those parentheses and the curly brackets, so make sure you include them. Just give us some room here. We're going to use something called console.log. We didn't use this before. If you were familiar with C#, it would be a little bit different. Debug would be something that you would be in the phrase there. So console.log, and we're just going to put key in here. What does that mean? That means it's just going to say, oh, okay, this key. It's not actually giving a specific key. You could give it a specific key, but right now I just want you to know that you can utilize key, as in any key, as a sort of input for, well, in this case, we're going to print something. We're actually going to do some division here. So, console.log. Quotations, divide stuff equals. Now that's not really a formal thing, that's just a string for the words divide stuff, which will just point to the actual division. You don't want a comma there, get rid of that comma. Use a plus button instead. Height divided by 256. Let's use that. And then console.log again, parentheses, remainder. Remainder equals. This time we'll use a comma. 3, remainder, 4. 1 uses a comma, 1 uses the plus sign. In a sense, they're all working together as one math problem. After that, we'll just tell it to print. Just want to make sure I can see the. Guess I went too far down with my bracket. There we go. Always check these brackets. Remember last time I had some issues with that. The pain in the booty that was. Just gonna press play, and voila, we have this lovely thing going on here. It's all good, all works very well. Circles are in place. This is more or less review, right? But the math behind key pressed is not review. This is something new. The math operator of plus, the math operator of divide, right? Remainder. And then if we press any key, I'm going to press W. Whoops, not there. Make sure you click the actual canvas. W, it says, okay, you click W, and we're going to divide this stuff. What's funny is I think it's actually adding the string here to the height divided by 256. So it's almost like it's using the string itself plus the height divided by 256. It's kind of interesting. And then the remainder is 3, of course. And we're not going to leave this as shiny music. We are going to call this the 101.2.1 math operator expressions. Save that. Take a little bit of a deep breath here so I can actually breathe, because I can't breathe right now. Next up, I want to use these math operators in such a way that maybe something animates, right? Perhaps we have frame count involved, as well as something on a repetition. We're actually going to make a sort of a looping object, but without using an actual loop. For loops in particular are quite useful. We're going to be getting into for loops at some point, just not right away. The reason being is that, well, we're just not ready for that yet. Some of you might be ready for it. By all means, go explore, but I think taking little baby steps is a good thing. So let's get into it. I'm going to take one new scene here. So I'll go to File and New. We're going to also label this. So I'm going to press Enter and I'll do some slashes here. Give it your name and also just a description of some sort. Move, rectangle, and looped. 101.2.1, and let's just put a B at that. Slide 9 is where that resides. We'll keep it at 400. Call this 101.2.1B and moving rectangle, just so you know what we're getting into here. We don't need a stroke, so say no stroke, parentheses. Moving on to function draw, background can remain, or you can actually give it something different, like a nice color, like forest green. This is what we're doing. Moving a rectangle across canvas and back. Here we go, rect. Simple as this. Frame count with a capital C. 0, 12, and height. What the heck does that mean? Well, you have frame count for your X, so it's actually going to move according to the frame rate. That's the pace it'll move at. So if I were to actually change frame rate from the default of 60 to like 25, it's going to move 25 per second, 25 pixels per second. Or 25 frames per second. The Y is 0 because it's stemming from the 0 marker in the canvas. 0 Y. 12 is the lovely width of this rectangle, not too thick, not too thin, just good enough to see. The height is the height of the canvas. It's going to take over the entire canvas, the entire height of the canvas. Loop and move the rectangle. We're going to do, let's just press play real quick. Let's see what we got. We got that guy moving along here. Nice and slow. And this one's just going to move, right? There's no, it's not, this one actually not going to loop. So we can actually It's not going to loop, right? The looped one is coming now. We're actually going to use a math operator / expression. The remainder expression. It's a lovely thing. So this one will just follow right on behind the one we're about to create for one instance, one draw. This is our looping version. Rect frame count, and then a remainder 400. Starting from the bottom, I guess, then, right? Which is fine. Zero. Oh no, frame count remainder 400. It's just, yeah, okay, it's just gonna keep, yeah, looping back there. Yeah, 0 would be the starting point for the shapes, the shape coming down, just like before. It's that remainder, or that percentage expression, that's going to allow it to loop. 12 for the thickness, and height for the height. So we're going to stretch all the way across the entire canvas here. Press play. It's going to move across. This one's just going to be riding along the first trip. All the following trips are just this guy here. That's not quite a loop, right? What it is it's a sort of, oh, okay, repopulate here once you get to this spot, 400. You'll notice it also does that only when it's in the center of the line. So watch it reach this edge here, center, and then it goes. So that's when it knows, okay, I gotta repopulate. Oh, matter of fact, I don't actually know. This actually did it from that left edge, which makes sense because we didn't actually specify rect mode. Could be kind of interesting if we did, though. Let's try it out. Rect mode center. Remember that from last time? Obviously, it's gonna mess up some stuff. It's stemming from the center, which is fine. But this will allow us to see how it repopulates from its center versus that line on the left, or the edge on the left of the rectangle. There you go, and then it repopulates. Interesting, good. Something to play with. So that's just a little bit of knowledge for you, plus a little bit of review. So we're gonna move on now. We'll go ahead and tackle another goodie here. One thing that we haven't messed around with is the random function. The random function is really fun because it can obviously give you lots of fun things to play with, like randomized stuff. In particular, randomized numbers. Let's put our name on this. Just gonna, yeah, we'll use random for stroke thickness. That sentence makes absolutely no sense. Don't copy that sentence. It makes sense to me though. What a mess that one is. Got Grammarly. Grammarly is trying to take over here. Darn thing. No, no, no. Let me go. There we go. Thank you. I'm just gonna have to manually do this because I don't know what happened to my stuff here. I deleted it all and just forgot because my brain doesn't work at the moment. There we go. Just make a little function draw. Beautiful, very good, very good, very good. Simple, easy peasy, create canvas. 500 and 500 because I want it to be a little bit larger to give room for drawing. Let's also put the background here instead of in the draw function. Otherwise we'll have some issues with seeing our little strange strokes, our little strange line work. I'll make it a light green. It's good to switch things up. Background gone. Use setup to see lines. Just so you know later, you can come back to that and be like, oh, that's why, okay, and figure some stuff out on your own. As for stroke weight, well, we're gonna have to sort of randomize that. So stroke and capital W weights, and this is how you use the random function. It's quite easy, or not function, the random, I guess you could call it a value or argument. So random 2 and 12. What's that about? Well, this is basically going to pick a number between 2 and 12. That's what that's going to say. Randomly choose a number between 2 and 12 for me. Thank you very much. So put a comment there. Random choose between 2 and 12. And we can do that again. You can also utilize a sort of min and max. So you could actually do something where it's like, oh, I want to, you know, well, I guess this is min and max right here. But you can also do something where you use multiple randoms in one parentheses for the stroke. This way, so and I'll actually put min and max in between. Well, min and max. There you go. I'll put something right here that's just going to talk about use RG and B to your advantage. Randomize each what we would call color channel, RGB. Stroke and random 140 perhaps and 255. Remember, that's where it goes, 255 up to 255. Random again. This time I'll keep it nice and simple. Just this is just going to actually choose a number between 0 and 100. So if you don't use a number prior to, well, I guess this number, you're just using 0 to whatever that number is. In this case, 100. Moving on. Random. And now min and max of 40. 172, let's say. Right now, it's not drawing anything except the canvas in the background, right? What I really want to do is put a line in here. I'd like a little lag, so I'm going to do P mouse X and then P mouse Y, after which mouse X and mouse Y. That's just going to allow me to draw with my cursor and make some really fun, strange looking, random, goopy lines. And you can make whatever strange kind of insect or creature you want there. We're just gonna take a little breather here. Save your work. Next up, we'll get a little bit more technical, and we are going to actually utilize real customized variables. something that will be typical of a lot of the creations you'll make moving forward. You'll be using variables a lot. It's kind of nice. I'm going to make a sunshine that interacts with the mouse and also has a sort of weird old-timey aesthetic, like kind of flickery. Yeah, that would be nice, a little flicker. Why not? Make a new project or scene or script, whatever you want to call it. Peridot Krill. That's strange. Look that one up. That's a weird one. I'm not gonna look it up now since I gotta do this quick before I pass out. We'll call this 1C, 101.2.1C, and we're gonna call this Make Dat Sun. I'm going to pause this lovely recording. If I'm able to. Interesting. Used to be able to pause recordings. Now we can't do that. That's strange. Okay. Huh. Well, we'll just take a break. I'll be right back. Just gonna get some water. Adjust my nutrients or something. And then I'll be back. Alright. So this one's a little bit more extensive. Not entirely, but just a hair. So as you know, I recall when we were, making shapes, we made shapes with just the shapes themselves, right? This time we're actually going to be choosing the values by creating little custom variables which replace the numbers that you would otherwise put in. This allows more versatility in programming by simply calling upon a variable that you've already sort of set into stone, meaning like that's sort of permanent at the top of the program, the top being the actual literal top at the top. The top of a program is something we would call, if you put a variable there, a custom variable, if it is at the top, it would be called a global variable. If you have a variable that is within the draw function, and it's just kind of before the stuff you want to make, that's a local variable, right? It's localized within draw. It's not all encompassing. And we're going to get into what that's all about here, right? So put your name on it. And it really, this program really should be called custom variables. That's really what it should be called. And what we're going to make, we're going to be making things like this. Sun rays coming out of sun ball around mouse interaction. And now, where would we put a global variable? Right at the top. And we're going to use let. Sometimes we would use var. They're essentially the same thing. Let is a bit more lenient, I'd say. And that'll be our one global variable for the program we're about to make. The thing I was trying to mention before is, remember when we were, just to kind of shed some light on what I'm talking about with regard to custom variables and why they're important. So let's say you have a line that you're making, and you got your endpoint of like 20 and 30, start point, and then the endpoint of 40 and 60, right? It's going to be some kind of angled thing. Well, instead of putting in an actual number, you could actually do something like this, where it's like sun y. And then if you want it to be different, you could add a math expression like 23 plus 23, right? So that's what I'm talking about when I'm covering that stuff. Matter of fact, we can leave this up just so you can see what's going on here. I'm also going to just do a stroke weight. I wonder if we'll get a default color with that. Or it's probably going to be drawn over by that though, so let me just see what happens if I do this. There it is. So there's your line right there, a little angled line. Little tiny guy. We don't really want that, so let's give this background some spunk. There we are. And so that line would be without variables, right? There's no variable making this happen. It's just numbers making it happen. So if we want to, and I guess I'll do it one more time just in case. If we wanted to, do this without, let's say without variables, it'd be kind of extensive, first and foremost. I'm not gonna lie. You would have to essentially write down all those little lines, right? And it might be good for you to see that. So I'm not going to go through it, but I am going to copy some demo code that I have here. So I think it's useful to see how that works. I don't want you flying blind. What the heck? So we'll do that, right? And there it is. There's your... So this gives you an idea of what we're about to make, too. It's like this strange flickering sun that goes down into the landscape. So very extensive, right? You have all these things here. It's kind of crazy. Obviously, to save yourself some time, you know, you would probably say, okay, this is all good and dandy right here. These are all going to be the same. Like literally all of this and this and this. This, all the same. These are not the same. $400, $300, $200, $100, $0, right? They're all coming from different places here, all across the endpoints of the horizon. Endpoint here, endpoint there, endpoint here, endpoint there, endpoint. So how would we make this happen if we were just going to, you know, just make it a little bit easier for ourselves, or at least a little bit more versatile for later if we want to change something in the code later, maybe just by using addition, right? Well, in our case, I'm going to actually now show you how to do that, but I'm also going to show you how to utilize local variables. And local variables are usually within a function, not outside of a function. So let's start with let, and actually hold on, we'll actually do this, local variables to start. Let sun x, and I want this to equal width minus mouse x, and this is where you'll start following along here. Also, let sun y equal 100 minus mouse y divided by 10. And I'm being very formal right now, as you can see. I'm gonna make a weird name for this one, Booyaza. And I'm not even gonna give it a value because we can do that later if we want. Let ra. Suppose that might be the sun, huh? And then I just want to show you that you can use another type of custom variable called var, which is actually kind of old in the old you know, JavaScript world, but it's definitely still used. Remainder 5. That's how we're gonna move it. And I want to assign values to the local variables Booyaza and ra. Raw, let's start with raw. We could do, let's actually just give it a shape, give it a weird shape. And this will be the ground coverage, like the grassy area. I kind of want it to be a darkish green at some point, but we'll get there when we cross the bridge. I want it to start at 0 on the X, 40. So what does that mean? That means it's starting right there. And 10, 10. And that's just what we're going to start with, right? We might actually do something about that. Might actually expand on that at some point, or maybe even just, we're not going to be able to see it, so it'll just kind of be there. Essentially, I just want to make sure that you know that you can make customizations to variables. They do not have to be sort of you can define them later, I guess is a good way to put it. That's all I wanted to do for you. And then booyah za. That is going to equal height. Lines and strokes. Stroke, let's make it nice and orange so we can kind of match what we have already. And then stroke weight, because I want it to flicker. See how it flickers, like old-timey flicker type thing going on there. And we'll randomize that. So we're actually implementing not only the math expressions and operators we use today, but we're also implementing that random argument or random value that we messed about with today and learned about. I want this to go from 3 for a min and 8 for a max for stroke weight. And then we're going to start by creating little lines here. Sun X. Notice how it changed to white. That means that the variable that we made is actually working. Sun Y. And then 0 and booyah. Control C on the keyboard so we can, after highlighting, so we can copy that. I'm also going to just type in 100 here. Whoops. For this one, I will type in 200. So each of these little endpoints are 100 pixels apart. Control V on the keyboard again. Control V on the keyboard again. And then we're just going to make that magical ball of fire. That's what I want. We'll fill it with a nice yellow. Make it a little different than what we had before, you know? Make it a circle. We're going to allow it to be a standard Sun X and Sun Y. We'll give it a little diameter of 63. No stroke. Because I want to make sure that the stroke before it actually has a nice little ring around it. Next up is the rectangular horizon, which I was gonna make with raw, but I'm not gonna do it. Getting tired here. Shape, capital R red. Remember we had that global variable way up top. Let's just make that a nice color. You may or may not see it. And this is actually, this one will pertain to might actually just switch out some of the background. Well, anywho, we're going to use shape red as a fill anyhow for one of the rectangles. I'm going to do 401 just so it sort of extends out a little bit so we don't have any weird lines on the edges. Let's just see what it looks like right now. Looks very nice. Oh, there's Ra. Hello, Ra. Little guy. Oh, that's some fast flickering right there. I don't know if I like that. I'd say that just about does it. if you have any other questions, just reach out to me, you know. Did we use all the variables though? No, we did not. Hold on a minute. We can't just stop there. We gotta use all of them. Wrecked. Let's put something in here. We didn't use shape number. Shape, capital N number. And we didn't use the multiply asterisk expression 100. I'll just put some random stuff in here. Okay, let's see what we got. And that's our guy zipping by. Very nice. Hey, I hope y'all have a lovely day and a lovely Friday. The videos are up. I'm so sorry I can't be with you. That's what these videos are for, though. I'm gonna go rest. It's been rough. Thank you for being patient, and I do hope, and I think I will be available Monday, so we can have class again then. But do read those slide lectures and read the books, the book chapters. Excuse me. I do have some book chapters for you to read this week. In addition, take a look at the discussions board, because I'm pretty sure that I want, at this point, I think it's a good time to start thinking about your final project. Better to start early than late. So take a look at that, see what you have to do, and that discussions is in my courses. So if you go to my courses and then that like top bar there, you'll see discussions, and you can click on it. And it should just be the only thing that's in there, so it should be good. Other than that, you also have a 2-2 variable shapes exercise. A lot of the information and demo that we did here in class, remotely, I guess, this week, or in person, depending on what semester it is, but this week remotely. All of the exercises do pertain to what we are learning, so you can kind of shift backwards and apply your learning moving forward. So please go do your assignment. It is due Friday. The reason being, for these strange, usually I have things due on Sundays, and that'll switch over soon, but I just want to make sure we're caught up and we're on track, because fall semesters seem like they're like a week shorter or something. I don't know. I have no idea why, but they do. So just fill that out and do your thing. We will see you later. If you have questions, Discord messaging is the best. Email, second best, but works too. Just a little slower. I will catch you all another time, another way.